All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to talk today about the employment market and it's changing. And this is a talk that a lot of people aren't going to want to listen to because they have it all figured out. But I'm here to tell you this: that my name's Eric Wilk, and I own a company here in St. Louis, Missouri. We manufacture furniture, we paint furniture, and I've hired and fired, I don't know, maybe 100 people in my day. So I'm going to tell you what's going on in the employment market, kind of where we're going, and what kind of what's coming down the pipeline here, because I don't think enough people understand why things are the way they are today. Okay, so I got myself a little script here, and normally I show my other screen, but today I'm just going to talk into the microphone about the employment market, kind of what's going on. And again, you can agree, disagree, whatever you want, have your own opinions. Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And here's what's going on. The truth is that most people today, I should say, maybe most people is the wrong word. A lot of people today just have the wrong skills. They've kind of been sold a bill of goods because truth is society just didn't know what to do with everyone because they were outsourced at all their jobs. I mean, what do you do with a whole nation of people when you're sending all the work to other countries, right? So they told them all to go to college, right? And we had the great financial crisis happened in 2008, and they need to figure out what the hell to do with everyone. And they literally just said to everybody to college, and it's a damn shame because they just really did a number on an entire generation of people. So I got a bunch of notes here. I'm going to start kind of going down this list of things that I think contributed to this situation and kind of what we need to do about it if we're going to change everything. And it's we got to do something because I just see a lot of people today that have really unrealistic expectations about so many things in their lives, and it kind of breaks my heart in a way because when I grew up in Oregon, I didn't have a lot of money. I grew up in a trailer, and truth is that I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. My parents tried to get me to go to college, and all I was ever good at was just making things and work with my hands. I was good at showing up on time, and I was good at volunteering for everything and just being that employee that was always there when anything needed to happen. And it served me really well. And today we're telling tons of people that just all they got to do is go to college. All they got to do is get a degree and be, they're going to get a job that pays them six figures, and none of them know how to be employable. And it's a big problem. Like this idea of showing up on time and doing a good job every day. The basics of being an employee are not understood by this generation. And it's literally it's college. College has college has fucked up a lot of people. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And employers, rather than taking these kids and teaching them how to be employable and teaching them, what it takes to make it in this world, they just said, I'll just go hire somebody else. There's plenty of people to hire, or I'll just outsource that job to another country, right? Or I'll AI is coming around the corner. I'm just going to let AI take care of that job. And truth is that hiring people sucks today. It's horrible, and employers don't want to deal with it. So anyway, I'm going to go through my notes here and kind of talk about this thing. I make these videos it's probably more for me than anything, but I love to talk about business. I love to talk about making money, making furniture, having purpose in your life, and I talk about a myriad of things, and it's a lot of fun to get to do this. So, all right, so we're gonna start with the title of this is the employment market is changing. Okay, when outsourcing slows down, managers become unemployed. Okay, and that's what's going on. Everyone. I think everyone still has a little bit of this kind of pie in the sky idea that we're in a John Hughes film, right? We're in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and the family comes over to your big house, and everyone's having a great time. You got the turkey, all the different kinds of family members. Dad works the corporate job and in the big city, and mom stays at home with the kids, and the house is beautiful, and money is not even a thought, right? It's kind of almost like a utopia. And the biggest problem in your life is, how to decorate for the holidays and how to bring people around and make sure you got the most beautiful home. And those days are over. And it was never real to begin with, to be quite honest with you. But there's always a version of it, but not the version that I think people kind of dreamed about. There's versions of it where you're able to do some of those things and it's wonderful, but it's not every day. It's not every year. And it's the ups and downs of life have just people just don't understand that. So when outsourcing slows down, managers become unemployed. And here's what's going on. For the last 40 years, companies have been taking all the workers and they've been sending them overseas and bringing people in to do marketing, bringing people in to do advertising, bringing people in to do design work, to do HR work, bringing people in to do all kinds of different jobs. And yes, a little bit of manufacturing, don't get me wrong. And then they bring in tons of people to manage these teams of people. And we've sent everyone to college to get the business degree is still the most common degree, I believe, in America. And we've got everyone has management. Everyone wants to manage employees. You know how many people I've hired for woodworking jobs, for painting jobs, for just basic assembly work, and they always put it, I manage people, I manage people, I manage people. And we've just warped people into thinking that that's what America wants, right? That's what employers want, is someone who can manage people. And truth is that's not what we want. We don't want that. We don't need that skill. If I wanted that skill, I'd hire a manager, right? I would hire someone that's really good at that kind of stuff and has a track record of doing that job. And so as we moved all of these jobs overseas, right, we needed more people to manage the group of people overseas, right, to be the liaison between all of these different entities abroad. And it's created a whole workforce of people that don't know how to make anything. And that's what's getting ready to change. And people are going to have to get right with this. This idea that you're going to sit in an office and a cubicle, whatever, manage people, work with a group of people. Maybe you're going to work from home. And I hear this, I'm going to manage people remote. Like, fuck off. Like, those days are over. Unless you're really good at what you do, it's not happening, So people need to get right with this idea that you're going to have to make stuff. As society becomes more aware of how America is basically outsourcing all of its regulations and rules to other countries, okay? What they're doing is once we do that, once America becomes aware that all of the tort regulations that we have here in America don't apply in China, all of the labor regulations that we have here in America don't apply in India, all of the transportation regulations that we have here in America don't apply in Vietnam, America's going to get really pissed off. Okay, the people that are working here are going to get really frustrated because they went to school, they did the thing that they thought they were supposed to do, and then when they go to get a job, the employer says, you don't really have the experience I'm looking for. And they're like, well, I went to school, I did everything I was supposed to do. And employers are just becoming more aware of the fact that kids don't have the skills that corporations need, right? That businesses need, because all these kids want to do is talk. All these kids want to do is think. And the truth is that we need to make stuff again. And when America realizes that everyone abroad is making all of our stuff, they're going to realize, hey, we need to be doing that here. Like, why am I paying somebody in a foreign country $1 an hour and they don't have to, dispose of their hazardous waste correctly? They don't have to pay the exorbitant energy prices that we have to pay here in America. They don't have to only allow the people to drive 8 to 10 hours a day, whereas they can drive as much as they want in foreign countries. They don't have to worry about being sued in foreign countries constantly. People are going to get really pissed off. And these managers and these people that basically don't do a fucking thing are going to have to start to learn to work, right? They're going to have to learn to make things, or they're going to have to learn to be a part of the process of making things, because things are changing, right? We got a new administration coming in, and it sounds like it's going to get a little dicey on the whole trade thing, right? Tariffs are going to come into play. And here's the deal. If you make something in America with American products, you're not going to be hit as hard, right? But if you're one of these companies that has entire product lines that are made overseas, you're in for a little bit of a rude awakening. And people keep talking about, it's just going to be 10%, 20%. I've done videos on how the whole tariff thing works. And I've done videos on how the tariffs, even if you tariff something 100%, the markup in America is so high that people are almost unaffected, right? The price, yes, goes up a little bit, but the market carries it up and everybody raises their price to offset that. It's not a big deal. The company that's bringing in the good, it continues to make the same amount of money, if not more, because the dollar it takes to make that product overseas, they're selling it here in America for 20, okay, which is a crime. And America is going to figure this out. And it's going to be something that's it's going to be interesting in 2025 to see how long this idea of making everything overseas is allowed to proliferate again. Okay, so a lot of these people that are managing workers, they're going to have to go out and work. They're going to have to work with their hands. They're going to start producing goods. They're going to have to start making things that other people can buy, because not everybody can manage people, right? Not everyone can be a designer. People are going to learn that you're going to have multiple skills if you want to be employable. You're not just going to be able to, manage the hours on a project, manage the efficiency on a project. You only just do, payroll. You're just going to do HR. You're going to have multiple jobs, right? And that's what's getting ready to happen. People are going to have a myriad of skills, and you're going to do that by becoming basically a entry level employee, and you're going to learn skills with a company, right? You're going to become useful to that company. And that's what's coming down the pipeline, because we've gone away from it for so long. It's basically the revolution is coming back around. Okay, so managers are going to be unemployed, right? Unless you get right with making things again and being useful in other ways. This is what's going to happen, and you're not going to be able to go to school to learn how to make things. You're going to have to go to a company to learn how to make things, and companies are going to hire people, and it will get better, I promise. When the immigrant workforce is reduced, native workforce will have to learn to make things, right? This is just what I was talking about. You're going to have to learn to be useful. You're going to have to get used to going home and being able to look at what you did at the end of the day, right? When you go home, you're going to have to be able to say, oh, well, I built this, or I made this many widgets, or I designed this thing, and it's going to see production tomorrow or production in a week. And I'm going to go look at it, and I'm going to actually get my hands on it. And I'm going to do all this work to this thing. That's what's coming down the pipeline, and the native workforce is just going to have to learn to make things again. You can't rely on other people to do everything for you. And that's one of the big problems we have today is people don't do anything. When they go to work, they're basically a warm body. Nobody wants to be a warm body, right? And people have this idea that they're just going to go to work, get paid a bunch of money, and then come home and play on their phone or do something in the digital space or play video games, and those days are over. That stuff's going to change. You're going to have to go make something, produce something every freaking day. And if you don't want to do that, you're going to be poor. You're going to be unemployed. You're going to be, pissed off at the world because you can't make any money, right? You got left behind. All these things that people say, like you're in for a rude awakening, so you have to learn to make things. And if you're in the workforce today and you don't know how to make anything, and you're one of these people that just goes to work and collects a $20 an hour job and goes home and, you open the store, hang out for 8 hours, see customers, go home and repeat. Those days are coming to an end. I hate to say it. They're coming to an end, so you better learn how to make something because it's going to get harder for you. As this immigrant, again, we got a new administration. If this happens where these immigrants are rounded up, even if it's just the criminals, it's going to put a fear in the illegal immigration population here in America. A lot of these people are going to go home. I hate to say it. They're going to leave voluntarily. And there may be some changes where there's a little bit of amnesty given and these workers are allowed to stay here. And if that happens, great. If that is what it is. But it's going to make it much harder for the American worker, okay? Because here's the truth about a foreign worker versus an American worker. A foreign worker shows up every day. They show up on time, ready to work. They work a full shift. They do their best. They like to learn. They like to be helpful. They volunteer for everything. They say no to nothing. The American worker bitches about everything. Doesn't want to come in on time, right? Doesn't even try to do a good job. Can't get off their fucking phone, right? Always has family problems, right? There's always some drama in their life that causes the employer to have to deal with their shit, okay? That's the real problem with the American worker versus immigrant worker, okay? And again, Americans got to get right with this, okay? It's not the employer's job to put up with your bullshit because will work for $10 an hour. I don't give a fuck if you want, if you're free. I'm not going to hire you because you cost more than you're worth. And it's very frustrating as an employer to have to put up with this shit and to have to explain this to people. It's very frustrating. So unless you start to get right with what is going on in society, what is getting ready to happen in society, you're going to be pissed off for the rest of your life. So you better learn to make things. You better learn to show up on time. You better learn to volunteer for things and do a good job. Otherwise, you're going to go work for somebody you hate, and you're going to hate your life, and you're going to hate everything, and it's just going to be very rough for you. So, if the illegal immigration workforce is reduced, you're going to have to learn to work. It's the only thing you're going to have the option to do. All right, prices of housing and automobiles are directly related to the amount of people that can work on them. Okay, this goes to what I just said. One of the reasons that automobiles are so expensive today is because nobody works on automobiles. No one wants to work on automobiles. And oftentimes we actually laugh at people that work on automobiles. I know this growing up, like, oh, your car's broken. Oh, your fender's damaged. Like, oh, you need to work on your automobile because you're poor. This mindset is getting ready to change. And this idea that if you work on your car, you're some kind of a loser, the tables are turning. And the truth is that you're the idiot, right? The person that's paying $50,000 for a new Hyundai, is an idiot. You're dumb. You don't understand money. And the other thing that's really sad is that because you don't know how to work on anything, you're forced to live in an apartment because you can't afford a house, right? So you have no place to work on anything, even if you wanted to. And what I was saying earlier is you're going to have to learn to make stuff, right? You're going to have to learn to work with your hands and be useful. You're going to have to be able to make something. And at the end of the day, look at your work. Look at what you did, right? You have to be able to show your boss, hey, here's what I did. And you got no place to do it. You got no place to learn these skills. So it's basically the employer that's going to have to teach you how to do this stuff, give you a place to do this stuff because you can't do it. You never wanted to do it. The idea of, people talk about the average cost of a home today is something like $400,000. There's tons of used houses that are busted up and broken down that somebody else has destroyed that you could rebuild. You could live in for under $100,000, no problem. But you don't want to do the work. You don't know how to do the work, and you're so afraid of work that you wouldn't even attempt it anyway. And this is a problem. It's a major problem. How do you expect to change an alternator on your whatever your Toyota if you got no place to work on it? Good luck doing it in your apartment. Your apartment won't let you. They don't want people working on their cars because people destroy the apartments, right? Because they don't own them. They don't know how to take care of anything, and so they take care of nothing, and it's a big problem. So the idea that we're just going to have somebody do everything for you, those days are going to be over, right? This idea of specializing, people have been specializing hardcore now for, again, 40 years, and now nobody knows how to do anything. And, and I'm generalizing a ton in this, and I'm going to generalize throughout this entire video. And again, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but when the only thing you know how to do is the only thing you know how to do, you don't have any other ancillary skills, you're setting yourself up for trouble, especially moving into the next decade or two, because we got big changes coming, and you're going to have to learn to make things. You're going to have to learn to work with your hands. You're going to have to learn to get dirty, because the coal worker that you were making fun of, for the last 20 years, who was making $120,000 a year, you were laughing at that guy and trying to take his job away. And turns out, that guy's not so dumb. Yeah, he's getting sick, and he might be trading his health for money, but that's his choice. And he's able to put food on his table. He has a house. He has a car. He gets to go on vacation. He gets to do all kinds of things. Has healthcare, dental, all the things that today's society says they want, but they can't have, right? And now they're bitching about, oh, the government should pay for this, government should pay for that. It's like, no, you need to go out and do that for yourself. But the truth is, you don't want to. You don't want to. How long have we heard about this remote work thing? I'm just going to work from home and I'm going to get paid big bucks. Like, fucking lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself, and you're lying to the people around you. You're making everybody around you weaker. And it's change is coming, right? The employment market is changing. And this idea that you're just going to sit at home and make money, you're going to go to school and make money, and everything's going to be figured out for you, those days are over. They're coming to an end, and man, honestly, it can't come soon enough. And I wrote down here, people don't want to work on anything. They don't. People think that designing stuff on their computer is work, and that ain't work. That's an element of work. But work is what you do in the real world. Work is the value that you provide to somebody else, and they pay you for it. not this idea that you think you're super valuable and you're worth this. I hear that all the time. Oh, go out and get what you're worth. Go out and get what you're worth. It's a lie. If you don't put in the work, you ain't worth shit. You're not just going to magically one day decide you're going to make something and then everybody's going to buy it. You're going to be a flash in the pan success. That's for dreamers. That's for dreamers. And the truth is that to work on that stuff and to be that person, you got to do your normal job and then you do your side hustle, right? And you have to do that thing on the side. That's the thing that can get you out of your main job, right? It's this thing that you're dreaming about doing, but you got to do the work over here first, and nobody wants to talk about that. So I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I wrote down wages are stagnant because everyone wants the same desk job or they want the same bullshit job. And this is 100% true. You don't know how many people I've gotten over the years that, they're an artist or they're a manager, right? Like I've literally had people coming in with bachelor's degrees wanting to sand furniture, right? Because they can't get a job, And the truth is, it's not that they are bad people. The truth is that the college system is so freaking easy. Like all you got to do is show up and go to school and do your classwork. And there's somebody there to tell you what to do every single day, right? That's all you got to do. But when you get out of the real world, those skills aren't worth shit. Because truth is, when it comes to showing up to work, that's a whole different story because work starts at 6 a.m. College starts at 9, right? This idea that you're going to go into a work environment and you're going to hear things that you might not like. You're going to hear, the 7 deadly words or the words you cannot say on television, right? That kind of, you're going to hear that stuff every day of the week because that's the real world. This idea that you're going to go to this safe space where it's always going to be warm and it's always going to be safe like that. Again, it's total horseshit. It's total horseshit. Those days are coming to an end. Okay. You're not going to have these pie in the sky jobs. Like you've been sold a bill of goods and now you're going to pay for it. Unfortunately, so get out there and make something. Get out there and do a job where you can see what you produced every day. And if you can't, you're in trouble. Okay. This idea of being a manager those days are over. Society believes college is just as good as experience. Okay. But there's another thing that they lied to you about. People believe that, well, I spent 4 years going to college to get my bachelor's degree, right? That's just as good as a job. Okay. Here's how you got to look at that. There was a time when that was absolutely true because corporations and companies wanted people with degrees, right? They were they were separating the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. They were getting rid of the people that didn't want to learn. They were getting rid of the people that couldn't learn. They were just getting rid of all those people so companies didn't have to deal with them. They were just going with the degreed people, right? So it was a great sorting mechanism. And the truth is that it's a fantastic sorting mechanism for corporations. But when you are in a world where you need to actually make things, someone's got to teach people how to make things, and colleges don't do that. They don't teach people because the people that go to college, the people that teach college are the people that couldn't make it in the real world, right? These are people that couldn't make things very well. They couldn't show up on time every day. They couldn't excel in that world, so they became teachers, right? And there's a famous saying: those that can't do teach. And it's not that they can't do it. The truth is they're just not very good at it, right? So that's where the teachers end up is they end up in the place where they can do what they want to do. So anyway, the idea that you can go to college and trade that 4 years of college for 4 years of experience on the job and come out expecting to get a high salary, those days are over. Okay, so think about it like this: you're going to college for 4 years, right? So we're just going to say you're paying $20,000 a year. So by the time you get out of college, there's an $80,000 bill, right? And at some point you have to pay for that stuff, right? You can go to the job, right? 18 years old, and you can go make $30,000 to $40,000 starting and work your way up by the end of 4 years to making, $50,000 to $70,000 by the time you get out. Okay. Now, when you get out of college, no company knows who you are, and your experience in college is worth jack shit. All right. It's worth nothing, and it's worth even less today. So it's just a massive waste of time. And again, if you want one of these corporate jobs and you're trying to get into, a place where you got to go, you want a remote job, you want one of these bullshit jobs, as I call them. there will be an employer that will probably want to hire you, that will give you an opportunity. But again, you're starting at zero. You're starting at zero. Okay. Now, say you take the other path, right? You're going to go, we'll use what I do. You're going to be a woodworker, right? So you go right out of school. Hey, Eric, I want to come work for you. I'm like, great. I'm going to pay you $15 an hour. Go empty the trash. Coming at 6 a.m., I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Go do this edge banding. Here's how you edge band. You're going to edge band for 3 months. Here, you're going to go and you're going to make composite, right? And you're going to do composite work for another 3 months. And again, empty the trash, clean the bathrooms. You're going to do the bitch work, okay? I'm going to say, hey, go move furniture, right? And, you're going to go clean the paint booth. And you're going to go, here's how you clean the table saw, and here's how you do all this stuff. And you're going to learn all these things. But here's the thing. You're building a relationship with your employer. And again, we've lied to people and said that, oh, companies don't care about employees. That is the biggest fucking scam I've ever heard. And I'm tired of people saying it. Corporations don't care about people. Small businesses do. And people have denigrated businesses for too long, and they've made businesses out to be the bad guy. When the truth is, the businesses aren't the bad guy. It's the lack of character and the lack of resilience in the average employee, right? Small businesses want to keep the same people forever. I don't want to ever have to get rid of somebody. And this idea that corporations and everybody, they lumped small business into corporations and they made us all bad, and again, a corporation may not want you. A corporation may want to go with a cheaper employee. As an employer, I want to pay you as much fucking money as I possibly can, because that means you're taking my work off of my shoulders, right? We win together. And again, this idea that that's not how it works needs to stop, because it is a lie. We're lying to young people about how it really works, okay? So you come out of college, or you come out of high school, you go to work for that employer, you do all the bitch work, and then in a year or two, you're cutting out parts. You're on the table saw. You're making dados, you're making rabbets, you're using the routers, you're starting to make end panels, you're starting to make frame end panels, you're starting to cut out top panels, you're starting to make legs and feet. And by the end of that 3 or 4 years, you're making furniture, making your $50,000 to $70,000 a year. And guess what? You have an employer that thinks the world of you. Now, if you're a piece of shit and you don't want to learn, or you can't learn, or you're a pain in the ass, guess what? You're gone. And you're going to go on to the next employer, and you have another opportunity to do what you should have done when you're younger to do with that employer. And if you can do it, great. But again, you're making $30,000 to start. You're making $70,000 by the time you get to that 4-year mark. So you've made, we'll just call it $250,000 instead of owing $80,000. And the colleges and the smart people tell you that, oh yeah, but you're going to make more money coming out of college. Okay. That may have been true 15 years ago. It ain't true today. And for the lucky few, you are going to make more money coming out of college, right? If you're in STEM, if you're in one of these fields that there's a shortage of talent, you're going to make good money. But the truth is that most people aren't that talented, and it's just the truth. And nobody wants to hear that. Everyone thinks they're fucking special. They're so good at what they do. Yet when they go out in the real world, it's not reciprocated by way of a paycheck, right? Or it's very short-lived, right? They try you out, they realize, oh, you're not that great, and then they send you on your way, and then you're pissed off at the world. And truth is, you're not ready to make that money. You're not ready to be that valuable because you're not that valuable. People want to hear that stuff. So we got a lot of people looking for bullshit jobs, and times are changing, and college is gonna go by the wayside. College is for smart people, and I've said it a million times. Like, college is for smart people, okay? And we've traded the idea that smart people need to go to college to get smarter with dumb people can go to college and get smarter. And the truth is that's not the case. And yes, for some people, of course it's true. It helps, right? And it's a sorting mechanism for people that want to show up on time and not on drugs, but that's really about it. It doesn't make you smarter, and when you're competing with people that are actually smart in the same STEM fields, you're going to end up unemployed. You're going to end up, digging ditches, as they say. You're going to end up on the construction site picking up lumber, because you're not really good at anything. You haven't found what you're good at, and when you went to college, you had this narrow choice of things that you could do, and you just went in the wrong direction, and you need to start over and go do something different, So college is not experience. College is just a sorting mechanism, and it's becoming more and more irrelevant every single day. So next thing, wages will continue to move laterally as AI comes online and people seek to manage others, and society becomes more unhealthy. Right. So the other thing that's happening that we're starting to get is that people that want to work from home and people that want to get these bullshit managerial jobs and want to just go into work, clock in, come home, clock out. These people are feeling very unfulfilled. And they're going home to their apartment, right? Which sounds good when you're young. It's exciting. You're in the city, blah, 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 blah. But by the time you get a couple of years under your belt, you realize this kind of sucks, man. Like, I hate seeing all these people around me. Look at my window and there's the next fucking house over there. People are tired of this stuff. It's getting old because there's no purpose in life. There's no joy in life. And everyone told you that the joy is on your phone, right? It's on a screen. It's watching somebody else live. Like, I see it all the time. People on YouTube have hundreds of thousands of followers, and all they do is clean their house. Like, that's what people are longing for. That's what people are watching. It's so weird. It makes no sense to me. But people need to get into houses, and they need to work on cars. They need to fix shit, and they need to make things, and they need to have problems in their life that they can solve. And we got a big problem with that today. And the guy named Johan Hari writes a book, and the name escapes you while I'm talking here. I will remember it. But he basically talks about how people are just they're falling into despair because they don't have any fucking purpose in their life. And he is 100% true. It's 100% right. Without purpose in your life, life sucks. It's boring. It's unfulfilling. And you wake up in the morning thinking, oh God, here we go again. Instead of thinking, holy fuck, man, I got so much shit to do today. I need to get out of here. Which is possible. And it's not about money. It's not about money. It's just about doing things you find purpose in. People will say, well, yeah, but if you have money, it makes life easier. No, it doesn't. It does not make life easier. It does not make life easier to have money. And we learned this through COVID. I mean, people have talked about UBI, and if people just had more money, they could work on the things that they want to do. And truth is that most people, the stuff they want to work on, nobody gives a shit about. And it's only good for them and their little tiny group of people. And truth is that you have to create value for other people. You have to be useful, and people think that they're useful. But again, when no one tells them they're useful by paying them a decent wage, you're not that useful. It sounds horrible, but it's making our society super unhealthy, because the thing that makes life great is struggle. Going into work every day, doing this thing, breathing dust, cutting out parts. Like, I get so much joy out of this, and I've done it my entire life. I've never done anything different. Managing people sucks. I hate managing people. Doing taxes blows. Writing payroll every day, giving people a paycheck feels awesome. Doing payroll sucks, right? I mean, there's so many things in life that are just horrible. And if you can find this thing of making stuff and fixing problems and being useful to other people and having them tell you how useful your work is by paying you a wage that you feel is really good, it's amazing. And again, we have to align skills today with what people are willing to pay for, right? They'll pay you a very good salary if your skills are very useful, So it's a big problem today. We're very unhealthy, and we need to work on this stuff. And until we get right with what mental health is really about, which is purpose, we're gonna be in trouble. This idea that you can just go get a drug and it's gonna fix your problems, like, those days I think are over. I think we're realizing that the drugs are part of the problem. The drugs are just making you numb. The lack of exercise today, the lack of motivation to get outside and go work out in the sun, to go feel what the cold water feels like, feel what the rain feels like, all these things. Like, I don't think people want any of that, and they've been sold this idea that you could live in an apartment, you could look at a screen all day, and if you get anxious, just take some Lunesta or Zoloft, or I don't know what the fuck people are taking these days. But this idea that stuff is gonna make you feel better about your plight is hopefully it's changing. I think it's going to change. Last thing I wrote is mental illness is tied to a lack of purpose through work and home life. And that's 100% true. What I was just talking about, when you go home and you have a family and you have kids and you have things that the house that you're working on, the car that you're working on, the whatever, you're building Legos with your kids, like working on a bedroom, for your wife, whatever it might be. Like, that stuff is purpose, and it makes you feel good, and it gives you something to look forward to. And we just got to have that stuff. It's very important, and it's going to take a lot of work to get there. But again, with the change in administration and the change in tariffs and all these kind of things, I think we're going to see a change for what the workforce is, what work is, how people live, and we're going to see a lot of things change. And we're going to realize that there's a lot more to life than being a manager, going to college, playing on a phone, taking drugs, and finding purpose in a digital space. And when people get back to, again, making shit that they can see every day, get back to, having, good family life, a good, even a good friend culture, whatever it might be, they're going to find out that, doing things in the physical world will fix a lot of our mental issues, and will help people to feel better about their situation, about their plight, about their future, all these kind of things. So anyway, I know it's a long and rambling talk, but that's kind of what I do. I like to put these videos out about business, about work, about society. I just put out all kinds of videos to talk in the morning, because truth is, I get up super early and I love to talk about this kind of stuff. I'm really concerned about society, and as someone that hires people and creates products that people find a lot of value in, I think there's a lot of good information here for people about all of these things. So anyway, I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll do it again.